Welcome back to the channel. Let's dive straight into a summary of Thinking Fast and Slow by Daniel Kahneman, packed with actionable insights that will transform your habits and ultimately, your life. You're here because you want to think smarter, make better decisions, and stop falling into those frustrating mental traps we all face. This book is your gateway to mastering your mind, and I'm going to break it down in a way that's practical, easy to follow, and most importantly, super relevant to your day-to-day life. Why sometimes you make quick decisions that feel instinctively right, but other times, after agonizing over choices, you end up making a mistake anyway. Maybe you're stuck in decision paralysis, like staring at a menu for 10 minutes and still ordering something you don't even enjoy. Yeah, me too. This is where Kahneman's insights can be life-changing. His work explains why we think the way we do, and how we can train our minds to avoid those all-too-common pitfalls. Ready to unlock your brain's potential? Let's dive into the key takeaways. Let's get started. First, System 1 versus System 2, thinking. The book introduces two modes of thinking. System 1, fast, intuitive, and System 2, slow, deliberate. System 1 is the part of your brain that makes snap judgments, like when you instinctively know to avoid a speeding car. System 2, on the other hand, is when you have to calculate a difficult math problem or make a big life decision. Imagine you're buying a house. Your System 1 might tell you, "This feels like home," based on the charm and design, while System 2 tells you to analyze the cost, neighborhood, and long-term value. The author says, don't always trust your gut. Sometimes you need that slower, logical analysis to get it right. Second, cognitive biases and heuristics. Kahneman explains that our brains use shortcuts or heuristics to make decisions quickly, but these shortcuts often lead to biases. For example, the availability heuristic makes us think that things we easily recall are more common or likely. This is why people often overestimate the chances of plane crashes after watching news reports about one, even though statistically, flying is safer than driving. Next time you're afraid of something irrational, like flying, remind yourself that your brain is pulling from recent dramatic events. The book says, challenge these cognitive biases by relying on data, not gut feelings. Third, loss aversion. The book highlights that humans hate losing more than they enjoy winning. We feel the pain of loss about twice as strongly as the pleasure of gain. This is why people are more upset about losing $50 than they are happy about gaining $50. Think about investing in stocks. You might hold on to a bad stock for way too long, just to avoid the pain of loss, even though logically cutting your losses might be the smarter move. The author emphasizes, don't let the fear of loss drive your decision-making. Sometimes cutting your losses is the best choice. Fourth, anchoring effect. Kahneman explains that people tend to rely heavily on the first piece of information they get, the anchor, when making decisions. Even when that information is irrelevant, it can skew your judgment. For example, when negotiating a salary, the first number thrown out can affect the entire negotiation, even if it's unrealistic. Next time you're negotiating, set the anchor yourself by starting with a well-researched, confident figure. The book says, by controlling the anchor you can guide the negotiation in your favor. So, I once had this old laptop that was practically ancient. I'm talking, fans louder than a jet engine, running slower than a snail kind of old. But could I let it go? Nope, I kept telling myself, it still works, I can fix it. The reality? I was just afraid of losing the money I'd already sunk into it. Classic loss aversion. After reading this book, I finally realized it was time to cut my losses, move on, and get something that didn't take 15 minutes just to open an email. I tell you, champions, the relief was worth every penny. The lesson: don't let your attachment to the past stop you from making better decisions in the future. Fifth, the planning fallacy. Kahneman points out that we often underestimate how long a task will take because we're overly optimistic about our abilities to get it done. This is called the planning fallacy. We think, oh, this project will only take a few hours, when in reality, it takes days. Ever started a DIY home project thinking it would be done in an afternoon, but it turned into a week-long disaster? Yeah, that's the planning fallacy at work. The author advises, take past experiences into account when planning. Be realistic, not overly optimistic. Sixth, the halo effect. This concept explains how our overall impression of a person influences how we feel and think about their character. If someone is likable or attractive, we may unconsciously assume they are also intelligent or trustworthy. Ever had a boss who dressed sharply and seemed confident, so you automatically assumed they were competent, only to find out they had no idea what they were doing? The book says, be aware of the halo effect and judge people by their actions, not just their appearance or charisma. Alright champions, let's quickly recap the powerful takeaways from Thinking Fast and Slow First. System 1 versus System 2 thinking. Know when to trust your gut and when to slow down for deep analysis. Second, cognitive biases and heuristics. Be aware of shortcuts your brain takes, challenge them with data and logic. Third, loss aversion. Don't let the fear of losing dictate your decisions. Sometimes you have to cut your losses and move on. Fourth, anchoring effect. Set the anchor in negotiations to steer the conversation in your favor. Fifth, planning fallacy. Be realistic when estimating the time needed for tasks. Past experience is key. Sixth, halo effect. Don't let appearances cloud your judgment. Assess people based on their actions and results. If I had to sum up Thinking Fast and Slow in one sentence, it's about understanding when to trust your intuition and when to rely on slow, deliberate thinking to make better decisions. Thanks for sticking with us. If you found value in these insights, make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and keep up the momentum in your learning journey. Up next, I recommend diving into videos on your screen. Until next time, keep learning and keep growing.